uppercut, uppercut, sonic boom! Welcome to Bushka's Guide to Solo Ranking, also known as I've Got Some Strong Opinions, and you're going to hear them. This is more in line with the channel's meta tactical focus on the game. If you haven't played solos before for rank, then this will give you a hand. If you have, and you just want to have a bit of a giggle, then stick around. Let's do things. If you wouldn't mind subscribing to the channel, these are the kind of videos we do the most of. Tactical, thought out, thought-provoking, groundbreaking stuff that'll make you a better player. Just hit that like, subscribe, and the alarm bell. Solos at its very heart is a challenging arena. We're going to go through the positives and the negatives. Let's hit the positives first. 100% it is you. It is your skill. It teaches you rotations that you can use in all manner of game modes, and it rewards good snipers. It also gives you a lot more space to do things because it's just single units all about the map. The negatives of solos, and there are negatives, there's certainly some negatives. And the biggest one you're going to find for me is the sweat level. But let's break it down. The queue times get high the higher you go, particularly if you're like me and you play specific solo maps only. It is oh so sweaty. People will just grind hard. It snakes for days, and you need to maintain a constant focus, which can be troubling for people who are used to just jumping in a squad car and getting driven around. There's also no safety net here. What do I mean by safety net? A lot of people will play in a squad with the same people day in, day out, right? And I was talking on the comment section of the video I did recently about how you learn in PUBG Mobile, and someone was saying on there, well, they just drop hot all the time, and him and his squad ace, and that's fine. And there's a reason why you can do that when you play with the same people day in, day out. It's because generally everyone else in the squad is good, like you are, and there is always someone who's a good chance of carrying a tough situation or making the right decision when you make a mistake. Solos has no safety net, so it is 100% your skill versus the skill of the other guy. Now, here's where it gets a little bit interesting in solos. A lot of people in solos don't have that prerequisite skill to rank in squads, or they don't have friends that they can do it with in squads. So they play solos because they want rank, they want to get to ace, they want to do something like that, but they also have a very negative play style. There was two people having a gunfight at Ruins. I found one of them. That is not the second guy. The other guy has disappeared. It's been nearly 3 minutes since I saw that gunfight occur, and there's all blue on my left. He just sat in there. He just sat in the blue for 3 minutes. I've got 200 games of solos with a 3 KDR. That's what I'm talking about. People will sweat, and you've got to be ready for it, and you've got to take on board that if you come second, it's a you problem. It's so much about being accountable, and this will be really good for you if you play solos and you want to then go and play squads. Because one of the biggest problems I find with people that I watch on YouTube who stream or think they're better than they actually are, or you see them on Twitter and carrying on about other people, and they're very rarely accountable for how they play. Being accountable in solos prepares you to be accountable in squads. Now, how about what map you should play? You should play Miramar. One of the worst parts of solos is the sweat and the grind and you know, the people who lie down in the grass in the blue and don't take engagements, and Miramar minimizes that. Sanhok and Livik are very, very quick. And you can maybe grind more points over time if you just want to land center map and line a house, because basically you're going to get a lot of points from surviving. But Miramar is the longest map. It is very, very rare that you're going to get a final circle in Miramar that is covered in grass, and it's got lots of opportunities to snipe. Sniping in solos is a massively beneficial skill. If you figure out your sniper, then you are going to be able to be way more effective, because as we mentioned before, there is no safety net in solos. So if someone's getting screwed pretty badly in squads by a sniper, that's fine. Your mates can chuck some smokes down, they'll revive you, you can drive off, whatever. No, the first thing you're going to learn in solos is that guys that can snipe are really dangerous. And a lot of people don't really love that meta, so they will play Erangel, where they can lie down and spray DPs and M416s. If you play Miramar and you're a sniper, it works out really, really, really well. In fact, it's one of the most enjoyable parts of the game is constantly running up against people that are trying to outspray you. And I'll show you a little clip here in just a second. And you end up just shredding them with a sniper rifle because it's a much more effective way of dealing with someone at 150 meters when you're only really peeking a little bit. This guy's gonna try and get a hold of me from my right here, and it's just good. It's just a good way to be, right? So the other thing about Miramar is it also rewards you with high survival times. A big part of playing PUBG Mobile and ranking is how long you survive for, okay? Survival is where a huge chunk of your points will come from. It's why you'll find people who will solo play, get to ace, and they've got 1 KDR, or squads. They'll get to whatever and they'll have 1 KDR, and there's people like with 1,000 games who have no real kill pedigree, but they will get rank. That's because survival points are a thing. So you combine survival points with an attitude of tactical awareness, and you can go really, really well on a map like Miramar. Secondly, Miramar teaches you rotations, and it gives you the time because you don't have to worry about people lying in the grass to make good decisions, and it teaches you these kind of things. It's not that Erangel doesn't, it's just that solos on Erangel, as I mentioned, is incredibly drenched with sweat. Sure, you might find people in Miramar that will jump in a house and just lie down, but you'll get that on Erangel as well as the snakes. So it's a little bit of a Erangel Miramar plus. So I would strongly recommend that you do the majority of your leveling on Miramar. I find that I play a fair bunch of solos, and I rarely push it all the way to high ranks. And the reason for that is that the longer you do this, the grindier it gets. As the opponents get better, they don't in fact give you more competition, they take less risks. And people will, I mean, look at this. This is the that's great. You're getting one shot at me every time I come out, and I'm getting one shot at you. My one shot is doing 60% of your health. Your one shot's doing 10% of mine. How do you think that's going to end? That's why sniping is so effective. Wait. So it teaches you good rotations, and it makes you very aware of your place in the circle, like where you should be on your next rotation. What is a good rotation? What exposes you? Finding hard cover at all times, short sighting on the zone. These are things and skills that you sometimes don't have to deal with in squads, because again, squads is a safety net. I used to have a regular squad that I run with, like Swiss Cheese or Mr. Ouija, and that would give me a huge comfort zone. I could be stupid and aggressive and they'd still get me up. Recently, I've been doing a lot of gameplay with random squads, and it's taught me a lot about the game. There are very few squad mates you will get in randoms who can be relied on to have any kind of situational awareness or tactical ability. They just don't think about the game at all. They make huge errors all the time, and that's because they just play with random squads. They just keep grinding random squads to get rank, and it's like a blender. If you play solos, it teaches you this stuff because you'll make the mistakes, and then you'll come back and you might make that mistake again, and you come back and you're like, well, I figured it out. I know what I'm doing wrong. Let's roll on. And those same tactics work in squads. The problem you are going to have is, as I mentioned, that as you get further and further along, you'll have to be opening it up to more and more maps, because if you're just playing Miramar, the queues will become harder and harder and longer. So you end up in situations where you're playing Livik solos and you drop, and it's incredibly frustrating to have a rotation that looks good spoiled by a dude on the top of the hill lying in the grass with a DP28 and a 4X who is just a giant potato. And this is the stuff you need to get and come to terms with. If you're playing solos, you're playing it for the challenge. And if you treat it like that, you'll probably be okay and get higher rank than you expected. The different weaponry as well, it allows for a greater variety of loadouts. And I think that's important and something that is overlooked. Most squads play with an M416 bent because if you've got 4 guys with M4s spamming, it's really, really effective. It's super hard to escape a suppressed squad of good players with 3 and 6Xs and 4Xs spamming M416s at extreme ranges. They'll clear cars, they'll pin, they'll keep you from making good rotations. And solos gives you more of an option of getting out of that kind of stuff, using smokes, the terrain, different vehicles, different tactics, being a good sniper. They all add up, and they pretty much allow you, if you're better than the other player, to win the majority of times, whereas squads is definitely not like that for me. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you want more of this kind of stuff, don't forget to leave a comment below, and as always, like and subscribe. That would help me. We have a lot more coming down the pike. I'm doing an update 1.6 video right now. I don't know which I'll release first, this video or the other one, but we'll see how that goes. Until next time, look after yourself, stay safe in the battlefield, and yeah, be nice to your mum, eat your veggies, walk that dog, you grub.